Welcome to Health and Harmony Beyond the Teeth, where we dive into all subjects that will help you become healthier and happier. As a dentist, I believe dentistry is more than just teeth. So I created this show to focus on overall health. We will hear from leading experts about eating better, exercising better, breathing better, and sleeping better. We want to help you create harmony in your life so you can live your life to the fullest. We want you to thrive. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Health and Harmony Beyond the Teeth. Today we have our favorite breath expert, Elsa. I'm not going to attempt the last name. I'll let her say that. But we're going to put her website information from time to time. It'll be at the bottom of your screen so you can get a hold of her. So, Elsa, good to have you back again today. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm great. Happy
Awesome.
Friday.
Great. Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody. Uh, so, anybody that's been following the podcast knows how I take more of a holistic approach to not only dentistry, but to just whole health in general. And breathing has been such a huge part of that in my own journey to seek health. And I literally credit breath work in my uh, ability and my success in lowering my blood pressure and getting off all blood pressure medications. So I firmly believe in it. But I'm an expert in the sense that I know my body and I know what breath work works for me. But that's why we have experts like Elsa on, so she can explain it better for the general public out there. So, Elsa, why is it so important? I mean, we all breathe. Everybody breathes. We can't live without breathing. But why is it so important to learn how to breathe properly?
Yeah, that's the thing. We all know how important it is because if we don't breathe, our heart stops and we die. And we all know that. But it's, if you think about it, it's really the most important thing we do every single day to breathe. And we take around 20,000 breaths every day, but unfortunately, a lot of us are doing it wrong and it makes us sick. And that's because some people go their whole lives without learning how to breathe because they are like, it's automatic and I must be breathing right if it's automatic. So we don't learn how to breathe, and there are different reasons why we are probably the worst breathers amongst all animals
Mm.
except overbred dogs and sick animals. And we can go into that too if you want.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like I don't know if you play golf, but
I do.
I love golf, but I don't play that much. But it's kind of like just anybody can get out and swing a golf club, but if you just continue swinging it wrong, you're never going to get better, and you'll probably just get worse with time goes on. So
Mm.
yeah, we breathe naturally, but that's the first thing we do when we're born. We take a breath, and that's the last thing we do when we leave this earth. We exhale.
Mm.
It's all those breaths in between that can make a really big difference. So. Um, why don't we just automatically, from birth, why aren't we programmed to breathe correctly? Or are
Mm.
we and then things happen? What's up
Mm.
with that?
Yeah, so I believe that most babies are breathing pretty perfectly when they arrive into this world. But then the simple or the quick answer to that question is probably because we live lives that are so different from the lives our bodies were designed to breathe or to design to live around 300,000 years ago. We live so far away to that lifestyle today. And a few different examples of how we live differently today is number one, we sit a lot. And when we sit, we tend to hunch forward, and that forces our breath to go up into our chest because we don't have space to breathe down into our lower lobes of our lungs. So we develop this chest breath. Another example is that we have tight clothes that pulls our belly in so that we also keep forcing our breath up into our chest. We also might go around pulling in our bellies because we want to look more attractive. Again, forcing our breath into the chest. We spend a lot of time indoors in heated rooms, in a lot of layers of clothes. And when we are hot, our breathing rate tends to go up. So we start to breathe fast. We also sit in maybe not the best ventilated rooms. So we sit with other people or we sleep next to someone else and we start to rebreathe their breath. And that a lot of studies have been done on rebreathing other people's breath or sitting in less ventilated rooms, and it has led to that people reduce their cognitive ability. So they have done tests when they ventilate the room where people score higher than when they do a test after sitting in a less ventilated room, and decreasing our uh, cognitive functions is a really strong sign that it's not good for us. We become stupid from breathing other people's breath, from spending too much time indoor. So that's another reason. And then we have what else? Pollution that irritates our lungs and our airways, that can create inflammation, leading to, in worst case, asthma, COPD, different breathing issues, being breathless, having a hard time breathe, etc. And then what else? Chewing. We don't chew our food properly anymore because after or during the industrial revolution we started to process our food, and also before that we started with fire, so we made all our food more soft, which means that our jaw is not getting the workout as it's designed to get 300,000 years ago. And
Yeah.
when it does get this workout, our jaws become smaller, our mouth becomes smaller, and our airways become more narrow, so we start to struggle breathing because our airways are so narrow. And that's also one of the reasons, and you can probably talk to this as well, that seem to be why we have crooked teeth today. So it's not that we have, oh, I'm just going to make sure that you can hear me as my mic dropped.
Yeah.
um, so
Well,
with
while
that,
you're doing that, the Industrial Revolution was really, even if you just go back 2,000 years and you look on a timeline of the changes in human habits, you get to 300, 250, 300 years ago, and it changed drastically, literally overnight. When you're looking, well, not, I'm sorry, not literally overnight, but figuratively overnight. If you look at it on the scale of, even going back to just 2,000 years. And so there was a lot of things that changed so rapidly, and our bodies just weren't made to adapt to that. So
mm,
we do adapt, but we adapt in a not so healthy way. And then all the changes, just I mean, in the last 25 years or 30 years with computers and cell phones, and it's just amazing all the things that are thrown at us as humans, that we just, hey, this is great, great. I love technology. That's all wonderful, but we have to really get back to basics when it comes to something as simple as breathing and breathing wrong.
mm.
What happens to our body, when we chronically breathe wrong over, our a lifetime?
Yeah, so all these things that I mentioned, the sitting, the being indoors, the not chewing, having too tight clothes, breathing too much pollution, etc., it all forces our breath to be up in our chest faster and maybe even through the mouth. A lot of us sleep with an open mouth during the night, and for those of you who don't know, the mouth is not or it's not created to breathe. It's just a backup for when our nose is blocked. We're supposed to breathe in and out of the nose as much as we can. And so yeah, when we develop this dysfunctional breathing pattern, it starts to signal stress to our brain because our brain is constantly spying on how we breathe. It's not just our brain sending signals down to our body, it's also our body, including our breath, sending signals up to our brain to tell our brain if we are safe and that we can relax, or if we are in danger and that we should ramp up stress and ramp up our nervous system and breathe faster. Our heart rate should increase and we should get ready for activation. So when we breathe in this fast upper chest shallow breathing, our breath is interprets that as if we are in danger, because why else would we breathe in the exact same pattern as we breathe when we are in fact in danger? So the brain is like, okay, you're breathing this way, you must be in danger, so let's ramp up your nervous system. Let's release cortisol, adrenaline, let's ramp up your heart rate. And when we create this breathing habit or pattern as a habit, we signal breath constantly to our brain, which makes our body not able to recover, recharge, produce new cells, activate our reproductive system, activate our digestion. Because when we are stressed, a lot of everyday bodily functions turns off because that's not the priority when we're in danger. We don't need to think about reproductive system. We don't need to think about digesting our food. So when we breathe in this way, we create stress in our body, and when we are stressed chronically, we turn off bodily functions, so our body can't work optimally. And if we can't recover, recharge, sooner or later we might hit a wall and then we can't even get out of bed. So that's one explanation of what breathing wrong can do to us. But there's, of course, so many other
But
routes
we
that we can
we
go
all
down.
have the ability to, we all have, everybody has a certain level of stress, more people now than ever before. But we have an innate ability that's inherent with each and every one of us to not eliminate stress, but to be able to deal with it. And my personal opinion is medication is not the way to deal with it. I'm not saying if you're on medication to go out and stop taking your medication, but all of my patients, one of the first things that I do is after interviewing and talking with a patient, so many of them want to get off medications and so many of them are on anti-anxiety medications. And so one of the first things that I do, I can tell them I've got a little 20-minute breathing audio that I just say, you know what, I'm going to send this to you. Even if it's just a consultation, I've just met this patient, we've been talking for 45 minutes and they're about to leave. I will send them a breathing video, audio, and say, this is something you can start doing today that will be your first step into eliminating medications, dealing with stress. But I personally feel like breathing and purposeful breathing to calm down and to reset the body is probably the strongest, most effective way that we can uh, combat stress and anxiety. And
Yeah.
so and we all have it. It's we carry it with us every single day. We just need to take the time to do it.
Yeah, and what people or some people might not think about is that every single breath you take is trying to balance your nervous system.
Hmm.
Every time we inhale, our heart rate increases slightly. Every time we exhale, our heart rate decreases slightly. So it's trying to find that balance between fight or flight and rest and digest. We want to be in that perfect balance in between so that we are relaxed but alert. We don't want to be too sleepy or too ramped up. We want to have that perfect balance. And with the breath, you are directly impacting your nervous system in the moment, and you can feel it after just a few breaths. You will feel that your nervous system will start to balance. So it's really the core to your health. Because even though, as James Nestor mentioned in his book Breath, that we both read and that we would both recommend, that most people don't think about that your breath is directly linked to your nervous system, because every time you inhale, your heart rate goes up. Every time you exhale, your heart rate goes down. So with every single breath you take, it's trying to create balance in your body, to create balance between fight or flight and rest and digest. And it's try to find that perfect balance within the middle where we are alert but still relaxed. We don't want to be too sleepy. We don't want to be too stressed and activated. We want to have that perfect balance in the middle. And that's often what's called being in the zone or getting into the flow. So with your breath, you can directly impact your nervous system, because you can take control of your breath, which means you can decide what signals you want to send to your brain. If you want to send calming signals with a calming breathing pattern, or if you want to send stressful signals with a more activating breathing pattern. So it's really the core to your health, because your health is based on how balanced your nervous system is, sort of. Because when you're balanced, your body works more efficiently, bodily functions work more efficiently, and you can recharge, recover, and heal. That we need to do every night, for example, so that we have the energy to go out the next day and perform again. And if we don't take these breaks to recover and fix our breathing, if it's breathing up into our chest and fast, shallow, then we don't give our body that time to recover so that we can go again.
Right. So we're talking with Elsa, breathcurriculum.com. And for those listening on audio, it's your website is breathcurriculum.com, correct?
Yeah.
We'll have it for those watching on video. We'll have it at the bottom of the screen. So, Elsa, we're talking about breath work. So, for those that might not know, what is, just in simple terms, what is breath work, and why would someone need a coach to help them with that?
Mm. So, yeah, breath work, the word breath work simply means taking control over your breath to reach a certain outcome. So, it can be, for example, you decide to lengthen your exhales or add short breath holds to calm down and lower your heart rate, for example, when it's racing, or when your mind is racing, you want to like quiet your mind. Or it can be that you decide to lengthen your inhales and create or add stronger breath holds to create more energy instead of reaching for that snack, for example. So, breath work is simply as soon as you take control of your breath for a specific purpose. So, it doesn't have to be just those upregulating active breathwork classes where you hyperventilate for 30 minutes. It can be simply doing box breath or simply choosing to breathe in and out of the nose if you usually breathe in and out of the mouth. So it's when you control your breath. That's simply what breathwork is.
So, when you
And
have a client that, we know everybody can benefit from breath work. When you have a client and you obviously would, when you first meet them, you find out what their goals are and what their issues are. So you set up a like a personalized breathing plan for everyone. I'm sure there's certain breath work that pretty much applies across the board, but specifically for what their goals are, correct?
yeah, exactly. So if you're pregnant, we do different breathing practices than if you are an athlete who want to improve performance. So, for example, we don't do strong breath holds when you're pregnant. We might do strong breath holds if you're an athlete. And yeah, so they come to me for different reasons. Maybe just because they feel like they have too much unnecessary stress and anxiety in their life that is taking over too much and they are not able to live fully. So they come to me for that. And then some people have asthma, but they don't really believe or they haven't even thought about that changing the way you breathe can actually make you don't have to use your asthma medication and your inhaler. So that's sort of a plus for them. They are shocked when they are like, these breathing practices even work for my asthma. And now I'm not using my inhaler, which is surprising to them. So that's an interesting thing. And then yeah,
We
we
along I don't
mhm.
want to interrupt you, but along
No, go
that
ahead.
line, we see children in our office for breathing and for jaw development, airway remodeling. We don't do pediatric dentistry, but there are a good percentage of the patients that we see, the youngsters, they have asthma. And we start widening their jaws and opening their airways up and having them work with a breath coach, get their tonsils and adenoids and all that under control. Maybe do some food sensitivity testing, get them breathing better, and their asthma just magically disappears because they're now fully using their full capacity in their lungs and they're breathing through their nose, which is a deeper, more richer type of breathing than breathing through your mouth. And so you're using your full lung capacity when you do that. So I'm a firm believer that the majority of asthma cases can be prevented or cured, or at least made much, much better through proper
Mm.
breathing.
Yeah, and it's not just you and me seeing those results. They have studied this
Yeah.
years ago, where they set asthmatics on specific breathing patterns and they saw like significant reductions in the use of medication. So
Mm,
it's just the basic science of breathing.
yeah.
When you learn how to breathe right, most of those symptoms go away.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
you've experienced it too
I've
with
seen
high
it.
blood
I've seen
pressure
it
that went down.
personally. And my daughter Alexandra, who you've met, she does breathing exercises with her children from time to time. And they're never too young to
Mm,
work with them. Well, maybe an infant. It's kind of hard to coach an infant, but when they're old enough to start listening to mom and dad, you can actually, a few minutes here or there, get them on that right track. And I just think of all the things that they can avoid, all these bad chronic issues that can be avoided if you take a child and teach them how to breathe correctly and teach them
100%.
purposeful, healthy breathing.
Mm. I
It's
mean,
just
they would learn a tool that they can use for the rest of their lives
right.
that has that where they can impact their nervous system. And it's interesting because I read a few articles about that it's now mandatory in New York City to teach people or to teach children how to breathe in school. So you
Oh,
have to have that on the schedule, which
that's
is really
great.
interesting.
I love to hear that. You know,
Yeah.
I heard someone say once, it's some things are priceless not because they're expensive, but because they're free. and
Mm,
and a lot of
exactly.
people think it, you know, certainly this can't do what my prescription that I got from Dr. So and so can do because
Mm,
that's got years and years of research and billions of dollars of research on this medication. And breathing, how can breathing
yeah.
help? But it's there. We all have it, and we just
Yeah, and
to
it's yeah, you
control it,
just
learn
need
how
to
to use it.
try it, learn it once, and then you have this secret weapon that not many people have because a lot of people again, they don't learn about how to breathe, so you have this secret weapon that or the secret edge that will take you further.
Absolutely. Well, Elsa, thank you so much. I would encourage everyone listening to this, if you want to learn more and actually work with a wonderful breath coach, it's breathcurriculum.com, breathcurriculum.com. And you can get involved with Elsa and start your journey of health with that first breath. So, Elsa, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on again.
Thank you for having me. My
All
pleasure.
right.